BRB Blazer.
Miles Sanders.
I'm not prepared.
Oh, my boy. Go ahead.
All right, hold on. Let me get
We got Miles Sanders from the Eagles.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know who you picked, Mike, so don't tell me. I forgot.
I thought it was David Johnson, honestly.
Oh, fuck. That is who you picked. See?
All right.
Surprise.
So Miles Sanders, this is something where I'm like, why I said we look at these numbers and we're looking at stuff and we're trying to see growth and potential. The next year's, finishes with them. I know we talked about Miles Sanders in the original ranking podcast. I had him at 12. I've moved him up to, I think 10.
10, yeah, it's probably about
Maybe
right.
9. I gotta look at my rankings again.
I would move.
I'll look at
That's
it for
great.
you.
That's right. I would move. That's a good call.
Yeah, but last year there was 2 seasons, and it was when Jordan Howard was there and when Jordan Howard wasn't there.
Yeah.
And they did nothing in the draft to really bring anybody in. That's why if you see me on the podcast when we bring up Carlos Hyde, I'm like, stay away,
Yeah,
stay away,
Please stay away.
because don't intrude on my man crush date with Miles Sanders, right, Hyde?
Right?
You had Miles Sanders at 12
That's what I'm saying.
previously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was just double checking
Yeah,
because you
move
said you didn't remember.
Oh, move him up to 10.
Yeah.
Right?
But yeah, RB 11 from weeks 9 through 17, and there was 2 games in there where it was Jordan Howard played another. He was 50% of the snaps in one game, and then week 17 it was weird. They smacked the shit out of the Redskins, and you only saw 50% of snaps.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was something to where it was like
No, yeah, he actually I know it. He hurt his ankle in the second or third quarter, and that's the Boston Scott game where he had the 2 touchdowns. So he just tweaked his ankle, and they wanted to help him preserve him for the playoffs. So
Yeah.
they set him out.
But you were seeing snap percentages of 85, 87, 81. The snap percentage is what you want to see from that top tier RB1. Yeah. Anyone who's going to play 80% of snaps as a running back is going to, unless they're bad.
How the hell are you only playing 2 downs, playing 80%?
Yeah, well, he's playing 3. Well, I'm saying their finish is going to
sure.
probably be almost a lock, top 15, top 18 if you're playing 80% of your team snaps behind the Eagles' offensive line, who is always year in and year out one of the top offensive lines. But RB 11 weeks 9 through 17, you take those. If you even cut it 11 to 17, where he was only the 80% snap share roughly, RB 7 and half point PPR. So. Where am I looking at this? 6 straight games in that time frame of 5 targets or more. So you're seeing the target volume there too.
Yeah, all these highlights are him catching the ball. I don't think I've seen one of him actually running the ball. You love seeing that.
His catch percentage is stupid too.
Yeah, it was 79.4%, I think, if I remember correctly. 6 straight games of 5 targets. Last year that sample size, we talked about it. I'm talking about it was 226 carries, 1,048 yards, only 4 touchdowns, 4.87 targets per game, 3.87 catches per game, 470 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns. So that's it's kind of mid to high end RB2. I'm kind of projecting a little bit more volume this year. I'm projecting him, going up to 256 carries for 1,228 yards, 8 total touchdowns. You get 250 carries, you're gonna get in the end zone more than 4 times. Yeah. Especially with that offensive line and being the main guy there.
That he had 4 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that was all he had last year. Or he was in that sample. I think he only had 3 in general too last year. Real low touchdown total last year. So I see that going up some. I have him for 88 targets, 66 receptions, over 566 receptions, for 567 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I have him for 1,800 scrimmage yards and 10 touchdowns.
And it should be an RB1.
It's an RB1 number.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
pretty close. Yeah, I have him right around the same. I think he's going to catch 65, 70 balls next year for 700 yards is what I would think.
Yeah, so
because he played the Redskins twice, right?
And the Giants.
And the Giants twice.
Well, they got all these speed guys in the draft, and even go get a Marquise Goodwin. You should get a healthy Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson. Those guys stretch the field and you just dump it off to them. How much space is that guy going to have to work with? And we see how elusive he is right here, kind of just run the ball. So
yeah, and he's strong. I don't think this is kind of a little bit too hype, but there's people comparing him to Christian McCaffrey because of the rookie year and whatnot.
Yeah, that's me for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit too extreme.
Well, they both do have reception overload.
Well, it's more his yards per carry is really good. He's 5 yards, I was surprised that he was going to finish with that as a rookie.
And the yards per catch was 10 point something, which is high. I'm projecting that down to 8.6. So I'm having him losing 2 yards off of that still. But the targets are going up to me and the receptions are going up to me. If you're telling me I could take Miles, I'm going to take him all day at the turn. If I'm in your draft and you're banking on Miles Sanders coming in the second, third round, he won't be there.
Trust me. Why do you think I'm considering? He's because, like you said, the Eagles. There's no way. Boston Scott, he's going to go in there. He'll get his touches, obviously, but he's still going to get 250. 235 to 260 a game, or a season. So And he's young. I think he just turned like 22, or he's about to turn 22. So he's young, and he didn't play that much in college. I mean, he was behind Saquon, so he only had 1 year to shine, and he did well, which is the year, before he got drafted. So another guy who doesn't have crazy tread on his tires, and he's actually aspiring. He wants to be a Christian McCaffrey. I was reading an article where like that's what he wants to like. He wants to be used in that regard, as far as not getting off the field and feeling like he could catch 80 to 90 balls.
Yeah.
So
And
the fact that he feels that way is cool.
Yeah, and I mean 63 targets in that time. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me honestly if he got up to 100.
Yeah.
And that's like reaching his that's kind of reaching his ceiling. But the catch percentage was around 79%, which is even take it down to 73. And say he gets 100 targets, still 73 catches. He's probably finishing in the top 8 to 6 at least. If the touchdowns aren't high, then it's going to be lower. But if he gets, if he does spike this year in touchdowns, you saw Melvin Gordon his rookie year have 0 touchdowns.
Literally.
So sometimes shit like that just does happen. But if he gets 9-10 touchdowns on the ground with that amount of volume and receiving upside, I mean, there's some upside built in there too. That's why I like it.
Yeah, and the last 8 games, he probably had a lot more targets and catches, because Jordan Howard had a game where he had 2 receiving touchdowns, which I've never seen in my entire life.
I think I remember that.
And one of them was like a complete broken play. They sent 8, and he just went on a swing route, and he just caught it and just took off. I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's not Miles Sanders."
The linebacker was like, "Wait, who is that?" No, I'm good.
Yeah. He's like, "That's a fullback. Why is a fullback wearing that number?" But if he could stay healthy, I mean, the way,
Yeah, I was telling Anthony off air. I mean, for me personally, if I could get both these guys, if I could have like a Miles Sanders Drake combo, I would be stoked. with that.
Nasty.
Yeah, that would be, for sure.
And that would probably be with like you in the first round, you're drafting like a stud wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Because those guys are probably not going to go until like the second, third round.
Yeah, I
You
feel
can
like
definitely pull that off if you were to go like Michael Thomas at 5 or something like that. Let's just say the big 4 running backs are gone.
you'd have to have like the 3-5, so the 5th. Yeah, so you'd get him
you
at
could
like
definitely get Drake in that turn. And then
29.
I can see Miles Sanders mid third.
And then you're just waiting to win your trophy.
Yeah.
Man, that clip was informative, huh? Well, there's plenty more right here if you click that. Also, go ahead and subscribe right there.